When the car accident happened, my husband shielded his female secretary without a second thought. A steel bar pierced straight through my right arm, and blood streamed non-stop. As the car was about to explode, he struggled to carry the slightly injured secretary out to safety. The rescue team saved me just before the vehicle burst into flames. While in the hospital, I scrolled through my phone and saw a post from his female secretary. Grateful to Mr. Huo for risking his life to save me. From now on, we share a bond forged through life and death. Arthur Huo stayed by her hospital bed, gently wiping the scrape on her hand with great care. The comment section was flooded with wishes for them to stay together forever. I liked the post and left the same comment as everyone else. Wish you eternal happiness. May they be blessed forever, and may we never cross paths again. It was a full week before Arthur Huo finally remembered me. I was packing my belongings, waiting for the doctor to write my discharge medication prescription. Arthur Huo burst into the ward and frowned at the bandage wrapped around my arm. Is it serious? The muscle and ligament were pierced. There will be permanent after effects. Arthur Huo grew irritable and blurted out, Then can you still play the piano? I stared at him quietly, and my heart still twinged sharply. He had never cared about me as a person. I shook my head and placed the last item into my luggage bag. Arthur Huo shifted his foot slightly and spoke with disdain. All that money wasted on training you. He had forced me to learn the piano merely to save face in front of his friends. Altogether it had cost nearly 2 million yuan. The piano alone was over 1 million. I had no natural talent, struggled terribly with the lessons, and the tutoring fees were exorbitantly high. I tested whether I could lift the bag with one hand. Then I said, I will pay you back every penny. You'll pay me back? Arthur Huo laughed as if he'd heard a ridiculous joke, amusement lacing his tone. All your money comes from me anyway. He snatched my bag away. I'll drive you home. Wouldn't want others thinking I'm mistreating you. The bag was heavy, so I did not argue and followed behind him. He listened impatiently as the doctor went over post-discharge precautions. On the way out, he sneered. I told you not to tag along with us. Now look how badly you got hurt. Serves you right. He had originally planned to take me grocery shopping for hot pot ingredients. Halfway there, his secretary Thea Lin called, saying she was stranded in the suburbs with no way to get a taxi. Arthur Huo immediately stepped on the gas and headed straight for her, never once asking for my opinion. On the way back, Thea Lin kept distracting Arthur Huo, which directly caused the crash. To protect Thea Lin and himself, Arthur Huo put all the danger on my side of the car. I had 2 chances to avoid this accident entirely. Once upon a time I would have argued with him tearfully. Now I did not want to say a single word, letting him berate me endlessly in the car. Halfway through the drive, Thea Lin called again. Arthur Huo connected the car's Bluetooth directly. Mr. Wow, I forgot to go for my follow-up checkup and pick up my medicine like the doctor told me. It's the weekend tomorrow. Could you take me now? Her voice was soft and coquettish, and Arthur Huo agreed without hesitation. He glanced at me. It's just a minor arm injury. Don't be so dramatic. I accepted being abandoned by him without the slightest emotion. He took a remote back road far from the city center. I waited under the blazing sun for over 20 minutes with no taxi in sight. I walked for an hour under the weight of my bag. By the time I reached home, my bandage was soaked through with sweat and blood. Arthur Huo sent me a message telling me to boil tremella soup for him. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I peeled away the gauze stuck to my wound, and finally saw clearly my place in his heart. When Arthur Huo came home, I was changing my dressing for the second time. He caught sight of my gruesome wound, and his expression flickered with a momentary trace of remorse. Yet his first words were still cold and demanding. Is the tremella soup ready? Thea Lin needs nourishment. We have no tremella left at home, and I'm in no condition to make it anyway. I winced in pain as the medicinal liquid stung my wound. Arthur Huo fell silent briefly before sneering again. It's just an arm injury. Can't you even cook anymore? Tisk, marrying you was truly useless. You're neither presentable in public, nor capable around the house. For 5 years of marriage I had dutifully played the role of a perfect housewife. If he felt hungry at 3 in the morning, I would get up tea. Oh, make him a midnight snack. If Thea Lin wanted steamed buns from the south of the city, I would get up at 5:30 to queue up for them. This was the first time I had ignored Arthur Huo's request. I did not retort, which seemed to catch him off guard. Why are you so quiet today? As he spoke, he set a cake box down in front of me. I specially bought this for you. An hour earlier this exact box of cake had appeared on Thea Lynn's social media post. The shop insisted on giving a free strawberry flavor I hate. Might as well leave it for the dog. The unwanted complimentary dessert she disliked had been passed off as a special gift for me. Bitterness welled up inside me. Arthur Huo had never remembered that I was allergic to strawberries. No thanks. I don't like it. Arthur Huo was in the middle of helping me remove the old gauze. He froze for a second and lost control of his strength. I instinctively pulled my arm away in pain. My elbow knocked into the cake box, sending it tumbling to the floor. Cream splattered everywhere, and the bright red strawberries were crushed beyond recognition. Arthur Huo flew into a rage. Even if you don't like it, there's no need to waste food like this. It's just a small arm injury. Do you have to make such a huge fuss? I sighed and stood up to clean up the mess on the floor. Arthur Huo watched my awkward movements with cold impatience and cut me off sharply. Stop pretending to be pitiful. I'll call a cleaner later, alright? Are you just trying to gain sympathy? Fine, I won't make you do chores anymore. Are you jealous of Thea Lynn again? She works hard. What's wrong with asking you to make her some tremella soup? What on earth are you always thinking about? Can't you just do your duty properly? I had lost count of how many times Arthur Huo and I had argued like this. Ever since he hired Thea Lynn, we fought almost every 3 days. When I questioned him about the scent of her perfume on his clothes, he accused me of meddling in his business. From the day we got married, Arthur Huo had made it clear to me. My only role was to be a devoted, supportive wife standing behind him. He belittled my looks and figure compared to Thea Lynn, mocking me for being good for nothing except cooking. My only value in his eyes existed within the confines of the home. Every time I cried and quarreled, he would look at me with condescending pity. But this time, I had no desire to fight back. The strong smell of strawberries irritated my nasal passages. Moments later I began struggling to breathe. My blocked nose left me gasping for air. Thinking I was crying again, Arthur Huo spoke irritably. You're always like this, really, ... He never finished his sentence as he watched dense red rashes break out all over my face. Before I blacked out, I forced out 2 hoarse words. Allergy ... When I woke up again, Arthur Huo was sitting by my bedside. He looked guilty. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were allergic to strawberries. Did he truly not know? My first allergic reaction happened when his company organized a strawberry picking trip. I refused to go, and he accused me of putting on airs. I vomited non-stop in the strawberry field and had to be rushed to the hospital by ambulance. He only complained that I had embarrassed him in front of his employees. The second time, Thea Lynn handed around cut fruit, deliberately giving me only strawberries. Arthur Huo said refusing to eat it would be disrespectful to her. I was sent to the emergency room once more, yet he did not even bother to check on me. He simply did not care. It doesn't matter. I shrugged, my expression utterly indifferent. Perhaps feeling a twinge of guilt, Arthur Huo scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. What do you want to eat? I'll buy it for you. I glanced at the moonlight outside the window and declined. No need. I'm tired. You should go home and rest early too. Arthur Huo laughed. Who sends their caregiver away while they're sick in bed? Did you make the tremella soup Thea Lynn wanted? If not, don't let me keep you. You weren't here for my entire 7 days in the hospital anyway. I'm fine alone. Arthur Huo flew into instant anger. Stella Sue, do you have to be so petty? Don't you know how busy I am at work? Didn't I pay for your hospital bills? Didn't I come pick you up when you were discharged? What more do you want? Besides, Thea Lynn hurt her face. She's still a young girl at an age that cares deeply about her looks. What's wrong with me showing her a little concern? You get a small arm injury and insist on making the whole world know about it just to satisfy yourself? I listened to his endless rant, feeling utterly baffled. I had only spoken out of ordinary concern for them. Still, I had no wish to waste words arguing. I said sincerely, I'm sorry. Oh, now you've learned to speak sarcastically? Fine, I'll leave. Before you get even more unreasonable. Arthur Hu stood up, shot me a furious glare, and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. When I got up in the middle of the night, I received a message confirming he had spent the night at Thea Lin's place. It came with explicit, intimate photos of the two of them looking perfectly affectionate. In the past, every time we argued, he would run straight to Thea Lin and send me provocative messages to upset me. I would always be the first to cave, apologize, and beg for reconciliation. I would prepare an entire table of meals for him, letting him insult and trample on my dignity. Now none of it mattered to me anymore. As soon as I was discharged from the hospital, I consulted a lawyer about filing for divorce. Though I hadn't worked for 5 years, a live-in housekeeper earned at least 10,000 yuan a month by market standards. A portion of that money was rightfully my due salary. I focused entirely on listening to my lawyer's advice on how to secure the maximum property division. Once upon a time, I would have chosen to leave with nothing rather than walk away from Arthur Huo. I had loved him for 15 years, and the habit had long been etched into my bones. Caring for him had become like an addictive drug I could not quit. I could never bring myself to let go. But when he instinctively shielded Thea Lin during the car accident, when he carried her away without a second goal, Ian says the car was about to explode, when he spent my 7 days in the hospital wandering around with Thea Lin, some truths suddenly became crystal clear. The only person trapping me had always been myself. Arthur Huo and I fell into a full-scale Cold War. For 3 whole days I did not send him a single message of concern. Suddenly I was mentioned in the company group chat. Thea Lin posted a video from the company team-building activity. She stood hand in hand with Arthur Huo at the center of the crowd, looking every bit like a madly in love couple. Sister Stella, it's such a pity you couldn't come. Logically speaking, the company never held 2 team-building events within a single month. I suspected it was nothing more than an open provocation from Thea Lin. No one in the group dared reply. All the employees knew Arthur Huo was my husband. Yet over the past year, they were also well aware of Thea Lin's special place by his side. No matter who they sided with, it would be awkward. I broke the awkward silence to lighten the mood. No pity at all. I'm perfectly happy resting here, saving myself from being the third wheel for you all. Thea Lin quickly sent a wronged emoji in reply. Right then, Arthur Huo called me. His tone dripped with mockery. What? Are you angry now? I remained calm. Not at all. Enjoy yourselves. You've gotten clever now, playing hard to get, haven't you? Don't think I don't know you've been secretly keeping tabs on me. You're upset I didn't take you on the team building trip this time, aren't you? Are you planning to come over here to confront me yourself, or wait till I get back and threaten me with divorce? Arthur Huo never believed me. I was rather annoyed by his arrogance. Admittedly though, I hadn't handled things well in the past. I paused for a moment and replied, wait till you come back to get divorced. I won't bother you for now. The triumphant tone in Arthur Huo's voice was obvious. I knew you could never go 3 days without contacting me. I silently thought how childish he was. After hanging up the call, I went to view several apartment layouts. With the money in my bank card, buying a small apartment was no problem at all. 5 days later, Arthur Huo returned from the team-building trip. I had already finished drafting the divorce agreement. He called me first, ordering me to make 2 claypot rice meals and bring them to a company 20 kilometers away. It was because Thea Lin couldn't stand the takeout food there. For the first time, I refused him outright. I don't feel like cooking. I have something important to talk about when you get back. Stella? Sue, how dare you act so high and mighty? If you don't come, I'll never set foot home for the rest of my life. I knew Arthur Huo well enough to know he would really do something that unreasonable. To settle the divorce quickly, I gritted my teeth and took a taxi there. It was already mealtime when I arrived. Thea Lin was acting coquettishly to Arthur Huo, complaining that she was hungry. Arthur Huo patted her head indulgently. Soon, just wait a little longer. Staff from another company looked on with undisguised envy. Mr. Huo dotes on his wife so much. The moment those words were spoken, Arthur Huo caught sight of me. His expression froze and he pulled his hand away at once. Thea Lin walked over with a sweet smile. Sister Stella, where's our food? Someone else sighed beside them. How nice, he even sent an assistant to deliver meals. I lowered my gaze and walked straight up to Arthur Huo. I need to talk to you privately. Thea Lin looked around but couldn't find what she wanted. She put on an extremely aggrieved look right in front of Arthur Huo. Sister Stella, where's our meal? We've been running around here all morning, and Mr. Huo and I are starving. How could you be so irresponsible? I wanted to retort and ask her what exactly I was supposed to be responsible for. But seeing Arthur Huo's gaze ready to speak up for her, I lost the desire to argue. It would always end up being my fault anyway. I couldn't pull him aside and he started lecturing me angrily again. Glancing around at the onlookers, I simply handed the divorce agreement straight to him. Stop this nonsense. Let's get divorced. The surrounding staff wore utterly astonished expressions. Arthur Huo stared at me in disbelief. He weighed the divorce agreement in his hand and noticed the curious glances from the onlookers secretly watching us. With a dark face he dragged me outside. Stella Sue, you're quite good at getting revenge, aren't you? He spoke these words through gritted teeth. I looked at him calmly. I originally wanted to talk to you alone, but you refused to leave. Are you blaming me? I stayed silent without a word. Arthur Huo seemed to be infuriated into laughter. Do you know why everyone thinks you're my assistant? Look at the way you dress. Where do you match standing beside me? I brought Thea Lin along because she can hold her own in social situations, do you understand? If I took you instead, you'd only embarrass me endlessly. I glanced down at my casual outfit. It was perfectly comfortable. Truth be told, I could dress and put on makeup just like Thea Lin, if I didn't have to cook and do housework for Arthur Huo every single day. He was obsessed with cleanliness and refused to hire nannies, dumping all the household chores on me. I had quarreled with him countless times over this. Yet every time I wore a dress and put on makeup, he would accuse me of dressing up to seduce other men. His temperament was truly impossible to please. I cleared my throat, hinting for him to read the contents of the agreement carefully. He slammed the document right in my face, raising his voice sharply. You're throwing a fit just because I went out with Thea Lin without inviting you, aren't you? Do you believe I can sign this right now and make you come begging me in tears? I let out a bitter smile and handed him a pen. I'd be more than happy to see that. Arthur Huo stared at me blankly for 3 seconds before shaking my hand off and muttering, You've lost your mind. Thea Lin was peering over in our direction. He walked past me, put his arm around her, and went back inside. We fell into another cold war. I urged him several times to sign the papers, but he never replied at all. 3 days later, I received an infuriated call from Arthur Huo. Stella Sue, where the hell have you moved to? My first thought was that it had taken him this long just to come home. When I left, I packed up and removed all my personal belongings, including all the kitchenware I had used. Nearly half of the large flat was now empty. I replied lazily, I left the divorce agreement on the table. Sign it when you have time. Damn it, you've got some nerve. Are you determined to drag this on forever? There's a limit to how far you can push things. Living without having to take care of him these past few days had given me newfound confidence. Cut the nonsense and sign the divorce papers at once. There was a pause on the other end of the line, then Arthur Huo let out a low laugh. Stella Sue, you're not even asking for much property in the divorce. How do you plan to live without me? Why are you being so stubborn? I had no choice but to bring up the matter he hated the most. I contributed more than half the capital to start your company. Excluding profits alone, the principal was 800,000 yuan. Add to that 5 years of me taking care of you. You can't find a live-in nanny worth less than 5 figures a month. I had given Arthur Huo all the inheritance left by my parents. For a long time, people had mocked him for living off his wife's money. This was a sensitive topic he hated mentioning, and I had never brought it up before. But today, I had no other choice. Sure enough, Arthur Huo flew into a rage and hung up the phone immediately. He never contacted me again, nor did he sign the agreement. Yet his interactions with Thea Lin became increasingly frequent and blatant. Now that I had seen the truth, their public displays of affection no longer affected my mood in the slightest. The Cold War dragged on for another week, until my lawyer sent him a lawsuit notice. The next time I saw him was when I came back home with groceries. Arthur Huo was leaning against the wall, his tie and clothes mismatched messily. He looked exhausted. Stella Sue, you've gone too far. His first words were still accusations. I thought for a moment and contacted the property security guards. Arthur Huo grew frantic. I'm your husband. Seeing I wouldn't back down, he softened his tone. Come back home. Stop throwing a fit. I miss you. Sorry, but I have no interest in you anymore. I pointed at the surveillance camera. If you do anything extreme, it'll just become evidence for my divorce lawsuit. Arthur Huo stared at me as if seeing a complete stranger. When the security guards arrived, he left obediently. Yet from then on, he showed up at my doorstep every single day. Sometimes he brought my favorite chestnut cake, other times a meal he had reluctantly cooked himself. Arthur Huo became overly attentive and solicitous, just like how he claimed to love me deeply when we first got married. But all of this came far too late, nothing more than an unnecessary burden to me. We remained deadlocked for over half a month. He treated me with endless gentleness, acting exactly like a devoted husband deeply in love. Yet my heart remained completely unmoved. Perhaps I had looked equally ridiculous back when I groveled before him. A minor problem cropped up at his company, forcing Arthur Huo to stop loitering outside my place every day. Our next encounter was with Thea Lin by his side. My arm injury had mostly healed. I started taking private home cooking orders in the neighborhood group chat. Thanks to Arthur Huo's picky taste over the years, my cooking skills were excellent, drawing the neighbor opposite my door to come over for meals regularly. Later, he offered to book my cooking services on a monthly basis. Since it was just an extra pair of chopsticks, I agreed without hesitation. Word spread quickly, and many young people also wanted to book my meal service. I thoroughly enjoyed the emotional warmth they gave me. I took on a big order this time, catering for a gathering of more than 10 people. Back when Arthur Huo was just starting his business, he often held such gatherings. I was fully skilled at handling this kind of work. What I never expected was that the order had been placed by Thea Lin. As I carried a big bag of ingredients to the address, Thea Lin's heavy makeup couldn't hide her mocking expression. How come Mr. Huo's wife is doing catering work now? If you ask me, you really shouldn't get divorced at all. Soon, several girls around her age burst into laughter. I glanced at the interior decoration. It was clearly a homestay, which meant Thea Lin had done this deliberately to humiliate me. I smiled calmly at her. If I don't get divorced, are you prepared to be his secret mistress for the rest of your life? Thea Lin's face turned pale instantly. I added, earning my own living with my own hands is far better than someone rushing to play the perfect mistress. Stella Sue, Thea Lin screamed angrily. Mr. Huo doesn't love you at all. Who do you think you are? You're not worthy of him in the slightest. Fine, fine, fine. You're the only one worthy of him. Are you still planning to eat the meal or not? If not, I'll refund your money. I set down the ingredients I had bought. Just as Thea Lin was about to speak, she suddenly changed her expression, clutching her leg and crying out in pain. Sister Stella, I really didn't do anything. Why would you push me like this? I looked utterly confused as Arthur Huo rushed over in an instant, pushed me aside and carefully supported Thea Lin. I was knocked hard against the wall, straining the old injury on my arm, and sending sharp pains shooting through my flesh. Arthur Huo glared at me angrily. Stella Sue, what exactly do you want? Thea Lin nestled aggrievedly in his arms, sobbing softly. I never imagined Sister Stella would come to cook here. I wouldn't have dared ask her if I'd known. Her friends exaggerated the story, painting me as a completely unreasonable villain. Holding my aching arm, I prepared to contact the property again. Check the surveillance camera. Let's see who I actually attacked just now. Thea Lin clearly lost her confidence and Arthur Huo noticed it too. He wanted to apologize but couldn't bring himself to lose face. In the end, he simply let go of Thea Lin and asked me in a gruff tone, "Why do you have to do such undignified work? Come home and let me support you. Isn't that enough?" I retorted, "Is cooking undignified? Then why is it fine when I cook for you at home?" Arthur Huo's face darkened. "It's completely different when you cook for me." "Of course it's different. When I cook for you, I only get looked down on. When I cook for others, I earn money and earn praise. Arthur Huo was infuriated. Thea Lin cut in timely. Sister Stella ... I cut her off sharply. Stay quiet first. Once I'm gone, you'll have to take over my place as his cook anyway. I transferred the money back to her right in front of Thea Lin. As I turned to leave, Arthur Huo grabbed my wrist at once. I know you still care about me. Today's Thea Lin's birthday. I only came here because I saw you were nearby. How about this? I'll treat everyone to dinner outside. Let bygones be bygones, don't be so petty. He was trying to make up, yet still couldn't resist belittling me. I glanced at Thea Lin's reluctant expression and smiled. I'd rather not be the third wheel. Once you finalize the divorce with me, you can celebrate her birthday openly and honestly as soon as possible. Once again I left Arthur Huo losing face completely. He chased after me all the way down to the entrance of my apartment building. He struggled to contain his anger, with a hint of grievance in his tone. Stella Sue, why can't you be more broad-minded? I found it utterly baffling. I've already stepped aside willingly for you and Thea Lin. How much more open-minded do you expect me to be? Arthur Huo grew anxious. There's nothing going on between me and Thea Lin. She's just one of my subordinates. I only keep her around because she's good-looking and can boost my image when I take her to business negotiations. Bringing in more deals and making more money for the company is all so you can live a better life. I refuse to take this unreasonable blame. You take her out to play, buy her gifts. Surely you need her to prop up your image everywhere you go. It's not like that ... double quotes. Arthur Huo hung his head, falling into deep distress. Those photos were all deliberately posted to make you jealous. I just wanted to make you come back sooner. I was thoroughly disgusted by Arthur Huo's twisted way of thinking. Perhaps he took pride in using such tactics to make me feel a sense of crisis every time. I pushed him away with a blank expression. Please move aside. Arthur Huo stood firmly without budging. The neighbors were all familiar with me, and soon gathered around to ask if I needed help. I nodded immediately and said I was being harassed. Arthur Huo looked deeply wronged. Amidst the surrounding reproach, he asked in a hoarse voice, "You still have feelings for me, don't you?" His words irritated me. Huh. Arthur Huo, who are you putting on this act for? In the past, whenever we quarreled, I would grow more and more aggrieved until I could barely breathe. That was exactly how he would retort to me back then. Now that the tables had turned, I surprisingly saw a hurt look on his face. With the neighbor's help, I squeezed into the elevator. Arthur Huo was blocked outside and could not follow me in. He quickly sent me a flood of messages. They were all overly sentimental apologies he dared not say out loud. He begged me to give him another chance to make things right. I ignored him, so he started calling me non-stop. Annoyed by the constant ringing, I simply turned off my phone. When I woke up and checked my phone again, Arthur Huo had transferred a large sum of money to me. This is pocket money for you. Come back home. Stop throwing a fit. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. I let out a bitter smile. It seemed I had left Arthur Huo with far too poor an impression. He could still say things like "I'll take care of you." Facts proved that only earning money by myself could give me true confidence. The neighbor opposite my door was going on a 3-day business trip and asked me to feed his cat while he was away. It was a simple favor, so I agreed right away. His home was spotlessly clean, except for a little kitten shedding fur everywhere. He had told me on the first day I cooked for him that he had rescued the stray cat. He didn't know much about raising pets, but couldn't bear to leave it wandering on the streets. I guessed he was an elite in some field, always dressing even more formally than Arthur Huo every day. I first learned his name when I took the cooking commission at his home. While cooking one day, my old wound suddenly flared up in pain, making me lose my grip. Soup spilled all over the floor, and he happened to come back right then. There was no blame from him, only genuine concern. "It's fine, just a small injury. I'll put some medicine on it when I get home. Don't let it delay your work." But he looked serious. "You've already blistered from the burn. If you don't treat it properly, it will leave a scar. Work is nowhere near as important as your health." I found out his name was Jasper G on the way to the clinic. His temperament matched his name perfectly, carrying a faint cedar scent and giving off an exceptionally clean aura. I recalled how clumsy I was at cooking in the early days. Once my hand was badly scalded and swollen, Arthur Hu's first reaction was to complain that his meal was delayed. After so many years, it seemed I had lost the ability to accept being cherished. Jasper G insisted the accident happened at his place, and considered it a work injury. He accompanied me to see the doctor, transferred me compensation money, and even told me not to continue cooking for him temporarily. I took the task of feeding his cat very seriously this time. Arthur Huo laid low for a few days, but the moment I walked out of Jasper G's building, he pushed me aside and forced his way inside. He headed straight for the bedroom in a frantic rush. Arthur Huo, have you lost your mind? I grabbed him, and his eyes were bloodshot. Where are you hiding another man? Tell me. Did you file for divorce just so you could be with this bastard? His words left me utterly confused. He pushed me away again and started searching every corner of the house. I lost my balance and fell hard onto my waist, unable to get up for a long time. It was at that moment Jasper G came back. Still holding his suitcase, he hurried over to ask if I was all right. Arthur Huo charged forward, his fist raised to strike yet froze halfway in the air. Mr. G? Jasper G raised an eyebrow at him. What is Mr. Huo trying to do? Arthur Huo stared at me in shock before stammering a reply. I heard my wife spent the night at your place last night, so I came to check. I always dropped by to check on the kitten after taking a shower every evening. Someone with ulterior motives must have spread baseless rumors. Yet I couldn't help but feel sarcastic. Arthur Huo, your own heart is tainted, so you see everything as dirty. Arthur Huo's face turned deathly pale. This was exactly how he had retorted to me whenever he spent the night at Thea Lin's place before. Now the same karma had come back to haunt him. He awkwardly exchanged a few polite words with Jasper G. I took the chance to slip back to my apartment and lock the door from inside. Arthur Huo waited outside the whole time, but I paid him no mind at all. He didn't leave even until the next day. He had curled up and slept in the corridor all night. Disheveled, he blocked the door I was about to close. Stella Sue, let's talk. I'll talk about divorce matters only. I have no time for anything else. Arthur Huo looked hurt but quickly agreed. Fine, come home with me, and we'll sort out the property division properly. I knew he would keep dragging this on indefinitely if we didn't settle it, so I decided to go with him. Having not been back for months, the house looked completely different now, filled with Thea Lin's clothes everywhere. Arthur Huo rushed to tidy them up, his voice flustered. Her rental lease expired and she had nowhere to go, so I let her stay for a few days. Nothing happened between us. She slept in the guest room. He emphasized this sentence repeatedly. I nodded absent-mindedly. I didn't even care if they had slept together. He rambled on about trivial things for a long time, just like how I used to share my daily life with him. Growing impatient, I cut him off. Just get straight to the property division. I don't have all day. Arthur Huo's expression instantly turned dejected. Reluctantly, he took out the divorce agreement and started rambling about what projects the company had taken on since its founding and how much profit it had made. I listened drowsily for half an hour before finally realizing something was wrong. So how exactly do you plan to divide the assets? Arthur Huo avoided my question. After a long silence, he looked up at me with reddened eyes. Wife, I just wanted to talk to you a little longer. Once upon a time, he was always impatient with me every single day. Every time I tried to chat with him, he would cut me off rudely. I had begged him for conversation before, yet he would only snort disdainfully, complaining that we had nothing in common to talk about. Looking back now, it was truly ironic. Forget it. We have nothing to talk about. The light in Arthur Huo's eyes dimmed little by little. After a long silence, he suddenly asked, Stella Sue, are you never coming back for good? I nodded. Yes. The negotiation between Arthur Huo and me ended in failure once again. When he walked me out, he regained his arrogant confidence. You chased me for 10 years before. Fine, I'll chase you for another 10 years. He began copying my old ways, checking on me regularly, sending me my favorite gifts, arranging accidental encounters on purpose, and creating what he thought were thoughtful surprises. Only then did I realize how annoying I must have been back then. After messing around like this for a while with no progress, Arthur Hu started telling me about changes at home. I hired a maid. From now on she handled all the cooking and cleaning. You can just stay home and relax. I won't go out drinking anymore, so you won't have to make hangover soup for me. By the way, take this card and spend as you please. I quickly pulled my hand away. I don't dare take your card. I'm prone to overspending. He had linked a family supplementary card to me once before. The first time I swiped 50,000 yuan, Arthur Huo stormed over to question me furiously. That 50,000 yuan had been spent buying a watch he had always wanted. What I never knew was that he had spent over 80,000 yuan settling his bar tab that same day. He must have recalled those unpleasant memories too, forcing a smile uglier than crying. I've changed now. Having run out of patience with his entanglement, I called Thea Lin directly. As soon as the call connected, furious yelling came from the other end. Stella Su, how dare you call me? What kind of bewitching spell did you cast on Mr. Huo? He doesn't even come to see me anymore. Her shrill voice irritated my ears, so I cut her off. Arthur Huo is here with me. If you want to see him, come to the address I'll send you. Arthur Huo snatched the phone from my hand, staring at me in disbelief. Why are you pushing me onto someone else? Isn't being with her exactly what you've always wanted? No, it's not like that. You're the only one in my heart. Arthur Huo let out a pained cry. Just then, Jasper G came back. Seeing the scene, he asked if I was free to cook for him today. I nodded and was about to walk inside with him. Arthur Huo grabbed me hastily. Stella Su, you can't cook for another man. He pays me. This is my job. Arthur Huo blocked the doorway with his body. I can pay you too, 10 times the amount. Come home and cook only for me. Jasper G suddenly spoke up. Mr. Huo sure loves making empty gestures. Back in business talks, you always said your wife was nothing more than a free maid. Now you're suddenly willing to pay wages? Arthur Huo opened his mouth but had no retort. As the two men faced off, Thea Lin rushed over. She threw herself into Arthur Huo's arms, sobbing loudly. Mr. Huo, Sister Stella already has someone else in her heart. Why do you still spoil her like this? I saw through her scheme instantly. Were you the one who spread the rumor that I spent the night at someone else's house? Alin looked utterly unashamed. You did, wearing a nightgown to Mr. G's home. Isn't that just to seduce him? The moment she finished speaking, Arthur Huo slapped her hard across the face. You who gave you the right to speak about my wife like that? Clutching her cheek, Thea Lin burst into tears. How could you hit me for this older woman? Look, they're already together. I'm the one who truly loves you. With that, she shot me a venomous glare and lunged toward Arthur Huo again. Arthur Huo stepped aside to dodge her. She missed completely and fell flat on the ground, covered in dust. Arthur Huo hurried over to explain to me. Stella Su, she's the one clinging to me unilaterally. Jasper G sneered. I never knew Mr. Huo had such messy private affairs. Your taste in women leaves much to be desired. Arthur Huo lost all sense of dignity. He forcibly dragged Thea Lin away. Jasper G said he was only returning the favor for feeding his cat. You're far more outstanding than Arthur Huo described. You're an amazing cook, upbeat and cheerful, and you have your own mind. He said this out of the blue. I froze for a long moment, then replied with a quiet thank you. It had been ages since I'd heard genuine praise from anyone. That same day, I've a call from the hospital asking me to come sign some documents. Arthur Huo and Thea Lin had been arguing non-stop on their way back. Overcome with emotion, Thea Lin snatched the steering wheel. Their car collided head-on with a truck. Only this time, Arthur Huo left all the danger to the passenger seat. Thea Lin was left in a vegetative state. Arthur Huo broke 5 ribs, and as soon as he woke up, he kept demanding to see me. I refused to go. While Arthur Huo stayed in the hospital, my life returned to its normal routine. Jasper G's cat grew increasingly clingy toward me, occasionally climbing over to my balcony from his. More than once, Jasper G had to come over to fetch it. He would also share bits of news with me, such as how unstable Arthur Huo's company had become. Injured and unable to focus on work, Arthur Huo kept craving the soup I used to make for him, and drove away several nurses taking care of him. I grew anxious. If he ruined the company completely, I would get nothing from the divorce settlement. Reluctantly, I decided to visit him. Arthur Huo had wasted away significantly. His face lit up with joy the moment he saw me. Wife, I knew you still cared about me. I'm only here to find out how soon you'll be discharged so we can finalize our divorce. Arthur Huo winced in pain as his wound was strained. Wife, it was all Thea Lin deliberately ruining our relationship. I cut him off. Think about it. How dare a subordinate of yours act so boldly? Isn't it all the confidence you gave her? Arthur Huo, you let me serve. You at home yet never saw my worth. You treated me like an object you could summon and dismiss at will. You never cherished me, so no one ever showed me respect. You used me to boost your own ego, yet behind your back others mocked you for it. Arthur Huo began to sob. He struggled to sit up, reaching out to grab my hand. Wife, I know I've wronged you. I'll never act like this again, and there will never be another woman by my side. Give me one more chance. I never truly wanted to leave you. Thea Lin was only there to save face for me. From now on, I'll only take you to events. The pain from his wound made him break into a violent coughing fit. I pressed the call button for the nurse. Rest well. Come find me once you've fully recovered. Before leaving, I couldn't hold back my words. Arthur Huo, you're really spineless. You always need women to prop up your pride. I wasn't sure if it was his injury or my words, but his face turned deathly pale in an instant. I had no desire to listen to anything more he had to say. Let outsiders call me cold-hearted all they wanted. I would never trap myself in this miserable relationship again. I'd endured 5 years of emotional manipulation, and I'd had enough. Now that I'd broken free from these chains, Arthur Huo was nothing special to me at all. While waiting for the divorce lawsuit, another favorable incident happened to me. Thea Lin's parents came looking for Arthur Huo, screaming accusations that he had ruined their daughter's entire life. I made some discreet moves, amplified media coverage, and exposed all their public displays of affection and arrogant posts online. Netizens who once wished them eternal happiness turned on them overnight. Thea Lin became a homewrecker despised by everyone. Her parents pestered Arthur Huo for a while but eventually gave up out of shame. Arthur Huo suffered an even bigger blow. His company's stock plummeted, forcing him to pull himself together to deal with the aftermath. Riding the wave of public opinion, I won the divorce lawsuit effortlessly. Arthur Huo chased after me but said nothing in the end, only watching silently as I got into the car. I was entitled to half of Arthur Huo's assets. I chose to cash out all real estate properties and equity shares. Many people urged me to think twice, warning that selling off everything would deal a devastating blow to the company. What did I care? Arthur Huo's company would have collapsed 5 years ago without my money funding it. I'd kept it afloat for an extra 5 years. By all rights, I was its savior. After learning I'd sold off his shares, Arthur Huo remained eerily calm. He acted like a complete bystander, indifferent to everything. He no longer bothered with the company's survival, constantly making excuses about his unhealed injuries to avoid work. Gradually, many senior employees resigned one after another, and the company's business was snatched up by competitors. The day the company declared bankruptcy came much sooner than I'd expected. Late one night, Arthur Huo showed up at my doorstep in a wheelchair. He looked gaunt and emaciated from days of skipping meals. Every word he spoke seemed to drain his last bit of strength. Stella Sue, I've lost my company and my home. Can you take me in? So this was his pathetic sympathy ploy. Drawn by the commotion, Jasper G came out and stood protectively in front of me. Sorry, Stella Sue is my girlfriend now. Please show some respect as her ex-husband. Both Arthur Huo and I froze in shock, but I quickly recovered, looping my arm through Jasper G's. Yes, we might get married by the end of the year. You're welcome to come to the wedding banquet if you'd like. Arthur Huo said not a single word. He stared at us for a very long time, so long I feared I'd break into laughter and expose our act. He wheeled his wheelchair slowly into the elevator and left. I hadn't expected him to leave so easily. Jasper G awkwardly pulled away from me. I'm sorry. I just didn't want him pestering you any further. Thank you. We each turned to go back to our homes, but Jasper G suddenly called out to me. Actually, if you're willing, we could really give it a try. Before I could respond, he had already closed his door. In the middle of the night, Iris. I've two messages at the same time. Arthur Huo's message read, I know I can't give you anything anymore. Being with Jasper G is fine for you, but please don't spend my money on him. Jasper G's message read, I was too impulsive just now, but I truly have feelings for you. When we crossed paths the next day, neither of us mentioned what had happened. Arthur Huo recovered slowly and occasionally came by my neighborhood. Every time he showed up, Jasper G would deliberately act like the perfect devoted boyfriend right in front of him. Watching the once arrogant Arthur Huo linger in the distance, looking dejected and lonely, I couldn't help but find it a little amusing. Eventually I truly got together with Jasper G. Having let go of Arthur Huo completely, I was finally ready to accept someone new. Being with Jasper G felt freeing and genuinely happy. Arthur Huo never appeared in my life again. Shortly after Jasper G and I got engaged, news came that Arthur Huo had smothered the vegetative Thea Lin to death. After the police arrested him, he insisted he would only confess the truth to me. I went to see him one last time. Stella Sue, this is my wedding gift to you. We ended up like this all because of her. I avenged you. A chill ran down my spine. Arthur Huo had become a completely unrecognizable stranger to me. The police took him away. Thea Lin's parents petitioned relentlessly for justice, and Arthur Huo was sentenced to life imprisonment. Not long after being locked up in prison, Arthur Huo committed suicide. His last shred of dignity would not allow him to live as a convict. I went to his grave and laid a bouquet of flowers, marking the end of all ties between us for the rest of our lives. This story warns us, never lose yourself in marriage. Humility never wins true love. The heroine loved a man for 15 years and was a full-time housewife for 5 years, giving him everything. Yet he abandoned her instinctively in a car crash, leaving her arm permanently damaged. He only cared about his own face and even gave her a strawberry cake she was allergic to, ignoring her safety. After waking up, she divorced decisively, earned her living by cooking, and finally met someone who cherished her. The cheating husband and his mistress got what they deserved and ended up ruined. It teaches us that loving yourself is the start of lifelong romance. Never give up your dignity for unworthy people. Cut losses in time to embrace true happiness.